Good evening, Simon.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me here tonight. Um, we'll wait for a few more minutes for the others to join us. They're not here in the next 5 minutes. I'll begin this class. What we'll be doing starting this week is exploring Python with some other tools, particularly Anaconda, and applying Python uh, in one of its use cases, which is data science. So you guys have some practical experience into using Python. And so while we're waiting, and if you guys want to download it now. You can download the Anaconda installer via the link I shared in chat. It's about 600 MB. So kung sa tingin nyo hindi kaya nung internet nyo right now, that's fine too. We'll be looking at installing it tonight, as well as getting some background about Anaconda itself. So, yun muna. Thank you. And all right, good evening again, everyone. Welcome to our class. So after a long while, I get to see you guys again. Thank you for being here. So before I start, just a couple of reminders. Some of the posted activities in Dropbox are due today. So pakicheck na lang ulit. If you have not answered the midterm exams, they are on Dropbox. And the deadline for it is today. When I checked earlier, only 6 people have submitted it. You have until 12 midnight to submit it. Otherwise, late na siya. I do accept late. So if you feel you can finish it and you'll be submitting it tomorrow, then it will get some deductions for being late. Um, so like I said earlier, um, this week we'll start looking at some additional tools you can use with Python and exploring some more of the actual real world use cases for Python itself. And for the most part, we will be looking at Anaconda. So that's what we'll be uh, using in the next few weeks to apply our Python knowledge and get some a small look into Python in the data science use case. Yeah. So before anything else, I'll just show a short video. Yeah. So it's just 19 minutes, but we won't go through all of the 19 minutes. I just want you guys to hear your introduction about Anaconda. Ah,
Hey guys, I'm Taufik and in this video let us understand how to use Anaconda for Python. Now I'm going to start this video by giving you an intro of what Anaconda is and why you should be using it. We'll then see how to install Anaconda and how to use Anaconda. We'll then see how to create different virtual environments using Conda and also see how to connect to different virtual environments from Visual Studio Code. Now, if you're only interested in watching the installation and how to use Anaconda, then I'll leave a timestamp to each of the different sections in the description below, so you can only watch the sections that you're interested in. Again, before I can start, if you like this video, then please make sure to subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up. Thank you and let's begin. When I started learning Python, I did not use Anaconda for a very long time, and the simplest reason for that was I just did not understand what is Anaconda. It was very confusing for me as a beginner to know why do we need to use Anaconda and what are the benefits of using Anaconda. It was only when I started building projects I realized the benefits of using Anaconda. So what is Anaconda? Anaconda is simply a Python distribution, meaning when you install Anaconda, it will not only install Python, but along with Python, it will also install a few other softwares as well, which are compatible with Python and very useful, especially if you are working in the field of data science. So when you install Anaconda, it will install Python, of course, but along with Python, it will also install a lot of other packages which are very useful and widely used in the field of data science. So you don't really have to install each of the data science packages one by one. Everything will be bundled together with Anaconda installation. Now, along with all of these additional packages, Anaconda will also comes with Conda. Conda is a package manager which is similar to pip. So Conda can be used to install any additional packages that you may need. Along with that, Conda can also be used to create virtual environments and manage virtual environments. So along with Conda and all of these additional packages, Anaconda also comes along with a few tools such as an IDE called Spider, and it also comes with Jupyter Notebook and a few other tools as well. So in general, Anaconda is simply a bundle package which comes along with Python and all the other tools and softwares that you would need to work with Python, especially in the field of data science. Now, if you're someone who is wondering that you don't really need to use all of these additional softwares, tools and packages, then of course you can just install Python as a standalone software and you would not have any issues. So it's not mandatory that you need Anaconda to work with Python. It's just that by using Anaconda, it makes it much more convenient to work with Python, especially in the field of data science. Now, one of the best use cases that I can think of using Anaconda is how easy it is and convenient it is to create virtual environments using Conda. Now, of course, we can create virtual environments without Conda as well by using the venv module in Python, but I think Conda is more convenient. So let's say you're working on two different projects where each of these projects require a different version of Python to be installed, and also you need a different version of a particular package to be installed in each of these projects. Then if you are not going to create virtual environments, then you basically would need either two different computers to work on each of these projects simultaneously, or you would need, let's say, creating multiple different users in the same computer to work on two different projects, since you need different versions of Python as well as different versions of a particular package. So to avoid this, the best solution would be to create virtual environments, and Conda makes it very easy to create and manage virtual environments. I hope this gave you some information about what Anaconda is and why we should be using it. Now let's see how to install it and let's try to use it. Okay.
And so far, when we've been using Python, we've been using the default IDE, which is idle. It's a great tool to learn Python, but when you want to do something more serious, you go and look for a better IDE, especially for professional jobs that would require you to code in Python. So so one of those tools, especially if your project is highly involved with data science, is the use of Anaconda as your development environment in Python. Well, I shouldn't say it by itself, it's the development environment, because what Conda gives you is a bunch of tools that let you develop in Python. So before I show you guys the installation, I have an older version of Anaconda uh, on my desktop. So you'll see there, Anaconda Navigator. And then when I launch this app, this is also the same thing you'll see if you were able to download Anaconda, the Anaconda distribution. So for those who were here earlier and were wondering why I kept reposting the links, it's because kung napansin nyo, when you enter chat and some chats have already happened before you came in, it doesn't show you all the previous chat messages. So, okay. So I'll wait for that to start. So that's why I kept reposting it so that people who came in would be able to see the link to the download. Anaconda officially is found in anaconda.com. Um, and you're seeing it boot up at PC Conda. And that's the current logo for Anaconda. So their official site is anaconda.com. And again, the main reason why people use Anaconda is because not only does it come with Python, but it comes pre-installed with a bunch of libraries that are related to the data sciences. And even if it weren't installed, unlike previously when we were adding libraries, so kung natandaan niyo yun, we'd have to do it manually by using um, the packaging tool for Python. So you'll notice I opened my older version of Anaconda. This is 2022.5, if I remember correctly. If you download Anaconda now, you get 2022.10, which is the latest version. So as of March, Conda has not released a major version to supplant 2022.10. So you'll see when I open it, it says Anaconda Navigator. On the left side, you see I have environments, learning, and community. So environments, what it implies is that we we can set up different Python environments. So depending on the need, you can actually customize it. Unlike with idle and just using normal Python where you're stuck with what you've installed, Conda makes it easy to create customized environments for whatever purpose it is you want to use Python with. Also, aside from that, in the middle, you get to see a bunch of different items. So on mine, you'll see that the prompt is ready to launch. So using that prompt means it's similar to the interactive shell of Python. You can uh, test out commands and do stuff like that. Um, there's also the one that I actually prefer, the PowerShell prompt, which makes use uh, of Windows new PowerShell. So I know I mentioned it before, but if you're going to use the command prompt in Windows 10 and even more in Windows 11, hindi na CMD yung kailangan nyo. Although CMD is still there, when you're using or when you want to use the DOS shell in Windows 10 and above, it's better to use the Windows PowerShell. So same thing, Anaconda gives us access to both the old command prompt as well as the new PowerShell in Windows. So obviously, this is the Windows version. If you are on a Mac, may specific na version si Anaconda for the Mac. Other things that are important here, we'll get to see Jupyter Lab. So basically, the concept of Jupyter is to be able to create notebooks. Actually, ito, Jupyter Notebook. So that not only are we coding, but we can also document our code while we're doing it. So that if we want to pass it to some other people, not only do they see the code, but they also see some explanation of the code. Na hindi lang yung comments in the code. There's also PyCharm. So this is a full-fledged IDE for Python created by the same guy who gave you IntelliJ. And so sa mga fans ng IntelliJ, that's what PyCharm is. It's a great IDE for Python. There's also Spider, another IDE, and a lot of data scientists like using this for their own needs. So you'll notice PyCharm says install because I personally don't use it. The things I've used yun yung mga nakalagay na launch. So yun lang, that's a quick look into Anaconda because what I'll do, so I'll close this down. Again, this is an older version of Anaconda. So, like I said, Anaconda itself is about 600 megabytes or so. So, on a good connection, shouldn't really take you more than 5 minutes. But if not, you don't need to have it right now. So I've already downloaded, or well, I have a copy of it already. I just need to find my. So I have it downloaded. I'm just trying to remember where I put it. Medyo enough. Not sure. Okay. Oh, yan. So the current version is Anaconda 3 2022.10. So far, wala pang 2023 na version na lumabas for Anaconda. So installing it is straightforward enough. You just open the installer. And then once it verifies itself and says it's okay. Okay, so a couple of things here. If you remember when we installed idle, I specifically told everyone to ensure that the path or that idle becomes part of the path for Windows. And so that when you're using idle or even the command line for Python, makikita yung mga Python commands. So with Conda, it's different. We don't want to use the path because Conda can exist with other installations, not only of Conda, but also of Python. So normally when you're installing Anaconda, um, you don't make it part of the path for Windows. Actually, they disabled that option already with 2022.10. But I'm just mentioning it to you guys just in case you find an older installer and make use of it. So the normal license agreement. And then ito pa, they strongly suggest that you only install it for yourself. Yan. Wag yung all users. Especially if you're the only user of the machine. So, yan yung recommended talaga. One, the install doesn't really need admin privileges. So, even if it's on a computer where you're just a user, like sa school, you can still make use of Anaconda. So, just me, won't use all users. Then I'll click on next. And I'll actually put this on my D drive because I want to keep my my system drive for important stuff. So I made a folder for it. It says Anaconda 2. Then I'll click on OK. So when you're putting Anaconda on a different folder, pick the simplest name you can. Walang spaces, walang special characters. Just letters and numbers. And don't make the directory too deep. Yan. So sa akin, nandun mismo sa D drive. It says Anaconda 2. I'll click on next. Yan. Ito day, ano. But anyway, so you have two options here. Both of them are unchecked. And the recommendation is, since unchecked to, we won't bother checking them. One, yung path. We don't need Anaconda to find the path because every time we work with Anaconda, we will open the Anaconda navigator. And two, we don't want, well, at least in my case, I don't want it to be my default Python 3.9. Yan, because I'm using a bunch of other stuff. And if I make this the default, baka maguluhan si Visual Studio, si official Python, and a bunch of other tools that might be using Python. So normally you don't want to put check marks on this one. And I won't put any on them. I'll say install. Probably look at the details kahit masyadong mabilis. So we'll just wait a few more minutes. That shouldn't take longer than what it appears to be. Questions so far, guys? Questions? Some of you might be wondering what's taking it so long. Not only does Anaconda come with Python, but it does come with a bunch of uh, data science packages or libraries automatically. So that's why this package is taking a long time. Uh, it is currently installing all of the relevant data science libraries. Okay, konti na lang guys. I actually did this the other day. It didn't take this long. Ito lang sure kung, or maybe yung naghahanap na talaga ng extra na ano yung computer. And so for those who are trying to do this with me, salamat. For those who haven't, that's fine. As you can see, one, it's a 620 MB file, so might take some time. And then yung second is installing it also might take time. So you might want to find a better time to do it for yourself. Yan. So it's finally completed. And then it just goes through a few more things. Working with Python and Jupyter is a breeze in data sped. It's an IDE designed for exploratory data analysis and machine learning. So um, I'm still learning data spell. I just do a lot of stuff on my own, but it looks promising. Um, and then completing Anaconda 3.2022.10 setup. Thank you for installing. Here are some helpful tips and resources to get you started. We recommend you bookmark these links so you can refer back to them later. It's easy enough to find them. If I remember correctly, in Big Sky, I put a link to the tutorial, and then I'll finish it. And it actually gives me this. So gives me this one. So welcome to Anaconda. Blah blah blah. Create your Anaconda Nucleus is their community online. It gives you access to a lot of materials. So I highly recommend you guys register for Nucleus. I'm actually registered. I just cannot remember um, what I used right now. So anyway, if I remember it, I will go through it. So that install should have finished or did finish. Um, and so this was my original install of Anaconda. This is the new one. And so that's why I put two para makita ko. And I'll open that second one. And so similar to uh, what we had earlier, yan, so it looks almost the same. Merong nadagdag lang na it looks the same. It even has tools for the Watson Studio Cloud. Um, ito na. Dinagdag niya si Data Spell, Spider, Glis. Yan. So all the stuff that we need is here. So Conda and the Anaconda Navigator gives you access to all of these tools. So for example, um, we want to try out Spider. I can launch that. So you'll see merong ano sa ilalim, and then just waiting for Spider to launch. You'll notice actually that CMDX is being called because what Conda does is to hide yung command lines, commands that you can type in if you want to do it all manually. But again, the whole point of Anaconda is to automate things, at least from the perspective of launching tools that we can use for Python. So we'll just wait for the Spider IDE to launch. And so, as I've said, Spider is an IDE. So, just like a lot of professional IDEs, it does. Uh, Ayoko muna siyang yet. And so much like any ID, so we have our code window here. We have a few other windows here that allows us to observe things with our program. So Spider is one of the ways you can do that in Anaconda. And if we want to run something, so this is the code section, of course. Let me see if I still remember. Is preferences. File, blah, 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 profiler, editor, source code, indentation, advanced, font size. Okay. Why can I not remember? Anyway, I can't remember how to make the fonts bigger. Mm, interface. Uh, here it is. No, no. Yan. So I'll make the font bigger. So that should be better. And so just like what we were doing with idle, I can type my Python command. So this is not an interactive shell. This is similar to the scripts that we were writing. So hello Anaconda. And then I'll save this as choo 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 choo. Uh, Siningit nyo na lang siya dun sa Anaconda folder itself. Um, Example 1. Uh, And so similar to the idle IDE, I've opened Spider Python 3.9. I've typed in my code and then I've saved it. And now just like idle, I'll click it on run. And then it will ask me if I want to execute it in the current console in a dedicated console or in an external system terminal. So if we do external system terminal, so yun siya. Ay, sorry. This is something running and um, it disappears quickly. And so I'll run it again. Uh, so I'll execute it in the current console. So I get to see it here. So parang idle rin lang. Ayun. That's good to know, Hans. Hans, is it working na for you? Were you able to run Spider 2 or some of the other tools?
No, sir. I just downloaded. I haven't tested anything yet.
Okay, that's fine. And so this is the Spider ID that comes with Conda. Well, actually, I'm just showing it to you guys. The other one, so I closed Spider already. The other one is Jupyter Notebook. So I launched Jupyter. Yeah, and so the Jupyter system, um, what it does is it actually has a server, and when you start running it, um, it opens a browser window. So it opens a browser window because what's happening is the Jupyter server um, is running Python, and what what this initial screen does. So it opened the browser window. Oh, wait. So when I clicked on launch, it opened a browser window. And so ito yun. And then I have a folder. So what I can do is uh, I'll just go to my old folder with Jupyter notebooks. We'll explore this in more details later on. Um, and what I'll do is I'll create a new notebook. Um, sorry. So under Jupyter notebooks, I'll create a new folder. I'll rename this to samples. And then under this folder, this is where I'll create a new notebook with the Python 3 kernel. Yan. So again, if I go back here, I have a bunch of folders. And then I can create a new notebook. And the whole point of the notebook is this one. So this is my notebook. I can rename it sample 1. And then that gets saved. If I go back here, it changes the name of the notebook. So what the notebook allows us to do is I can create a Python command. Okay. And then you'll see merong run, and I can run it. And then we get to see the result at the bottom. Um, and then if I make a mistake, will tell me syntax error and then suggest some fixes to it. So, so that very quickly are some of the things we can do with Anaconda. Questions so far? Questions, guys? Comments? Did anyone try installing? Ano ba? Thank you, Jello, for the thumbs up. And so, again, if you didn't install it yet, that's fine. We'll be looking at this in more details in the following week so you guys become familiar with the concept of Jupyter Notebooks. Yan. So yung Spider na IDE, that works just like any IDE. So I don't want to focus too much on that one. What we'll be looking at is the concept of using Jupyter Notebooks and why it's one of the more popular tools around, especially for data science projects. So I'll close this now. Yan, so I make it a habit to click on quit because Jupyter is running a server. So when I do quit, it shuts down that server. So yun, any more questions, guys? Kung wala nang questions, one final reminder, please recheck Big Sky, particularly the Dropbox, and see what you're missing from the submissions there and try to submit things on time. Other than that, I'd like to thank everyone here for joining me here tonight. Stay safe, enjoy dinner, and I'll see you all again next week. Right? Salamat, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, sir. Good night po.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night, thanks.